Hello. I wish to speak about the interactions between the Jewish community and non-Jews, and specifically non-Jews who have an interest in the God of Israel and an interest in behaving according to the rules of a non-Jew within Torah. And recently, in the last several decades, it's been possible for non-Jews with the Noahide movement to interact more than has been for recent history. We're able to interact. We're able to take classes, and many of us attend the stroll, the prayer meetings that the Jewish people have. As long as we're functioning within a proper structure, we're not trying to muscle our way in or behave we realize that we're in somebody else's house and we're behaving in a way that we respect the other person's house. Historically, it's been kind of up and down. There's been times when it's worked very well, and other times when it's not worked so well. Usually, it depends upon the amount of structure that exists. If there's structure, then the non-Jews and the Jews are able to interact very well. Historically, looking back in the time of the Bible and the times of Joshua, when the Israel came into the land, when the children of Israel came into the land, there were some people that were already there. I'm referring to the Gibeonites, who made a peace treaty with Israel. And these were some of the cities that were in Israel. They made a peace treaty with Joshua and the people of Israel that they would be able to live in peace together. The Gibeonites took on the structure. They took on the structure necessary for non-Jews to be able to behave, and they accepted it, and everything worked well for them. And a few hundred years later, the building of the first temple, there were about 150,000 of what's called the Eved of Solomon, the servants of Solomon, who did much of the heavy labor in building the first temple. They also came in, they accepted the structure, they accepted the rules, and it worked good for them. They were able to live in Israel. Many of them stayed in Israel even after the first temple was built. The community still stayed in Israel. And we see where they went into exile, with hundreds of years later, they still existed. They went into exile with the Babylonian captivity, both the Gibeonites and the Eved of Solomon. And not only that, they came back with Nehemiah and the founding of the second temple, the next time. So they kept the structure, and they were able to function within Israel. There were other groups that came in, such as the Edomites, the Edomites, who came into Israel, and they didn't really function. It wasn't done correctly, and they didn't really. Herod was one of them, and they didn't really function well within Israel. It didn't work. They weren't following the rules. The Edomites were not following the rules at that time. During the Roman Empire, Israel still had structure, and they still had the Sanhedrin and the legal system, and they still had the temple. So even though they were under Roman dominion, they had a structure, and there were many God-fearers. Towards the end of the Second Temple time, there were many God-fearers who associated themselves with Israel. They were interested in Torah for the non-Jew, and they were interested in the God of Israel and worshiping the God of Israel. And it functioned. However, a difficulty happened with the destruction of the Second Temple. The time of the destruction of the Second Temple, there was a breakdown of the structure, a breakdown of the system. And when there was a breakdown of the system, the non-Jews, who often outnumber the Jews, if with the destruction of the system, the non-Jews would have become the dominant force within the society, and would have influenced the Jewish people to go off, in a different direction. It became necessary at that time to have a separation between the God-fearers and the Jewish community. And the separation, it was a difficult time. It was a total time of turmoil for Israel at that time, but it had to be done, and that separation did occur, and that would have been the founding of Christianity. And I'm going to go more into this in God willing, with an upcoming video where we're discussing the story of the Todos Jesu, not so much about Jesus, but rather about the Apostle Paul as explained in Todos Jesu. Thank you.